England don't do draws. We told you this. We all know this. So after conceding 600, England decided to reduce themselves to 25 for 3. Tactics, thought process. This is the Final Word Daily. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by Daniel Norcross. This show is brought to you by New Brew. And to summarise the day's play in 30 seconds is my great friend and mentor, Daniel Norcross.
It's all about Shubman Gill today. What a sublime, glorious knock from the Prince. 260 odd. I thought he was going to make it past Virender Sehwag's 319. That was what all the talk and all the interest was about. And what was rather strangely mundane. The cricket meandered. It sort of felt like it was going nowhere except in one direction, and that direction was supreme Indian dominance as the English Lion was cowed. But it got even worse, as after conceding 587 runs, they contrived to lose 3 wickets in double quick time. 2 to Akash Deep. It was 2 in 2. He was on a hat-trick. Excitement suddenly built. The Holly stand exploded into life. Harry Brook played an innings of extraordinary error, but somehow has made it through to the close with Joe Root. Will normal service resume tomorrow, or will India snatch victory without Bumrah? Have to tune in and find out.
Scores on the doors. England 510 behind. Loads, in other words.
Loads.
But as Daniel said, today is about Shubman Gill, the highest score ever by an Indian Test captain. He finished on 269, and I have a confession.
Oh, yes.
One of my greatest failures as a cricket fan is watching phenomenal innings where batters are in complete control and finding it a little bit dull. Because cricket is about the contest between bat and ball. You need a balance. You need the idea that there is some jeopardy at play for the person in the middle. There was no jeopardy for Shubman Gill. I think yesterday when he finished on 100, CricViz was doing their stats that it was the smallest false shot percentage of any century ever, basically. He was only out of control on about 3% of the occasions. So do you know what really cheered me up today? When Harry Brook came on to bowl. And I went, ha-ha, here's a bowler I can recognise, who is closer to the context of the sport I know and understand, coming up against a batter who plays and operates in a realm I have no familiarity with. It's too good. It's too far away. Harry Brook comes on to bowl, and Shubman Gill absolutely takes the piss out of him. And that's when I knew that this historic innings was truly one of the greats. After 2 drives down the ground, he's the first over for 12. It was wonderful. Can you give me some of your thoughts on old Shubber's knock?
Shubber's, it was just simply... I think I have a certain agreement with you in that it was too good to be easily appreciated by the ignorant. But for those of us who have been around for a while, the cerebrally minded, it was nothing but a delight. It was like bathing in the warm bath of excellence. I was just being overwhelmed by the delicious goo of superiority. Nothing flapped him. And it was an endurance test as well. It's all very well looking in complete control, but you try looking in complete control of anything for 9 hours. I mean, I'm not in control of anything for 9 minutes, let alone 9-10 hours. It was magnificent. Every ball came out of the middle of his bat. Harry Brook, since you mentioned him earlier, managed to make more false shots in his first 14 balls than Shubman Gill made in the entirety of getting to 100. It was that was the difference. And yes, you're absolutely right. There was no contest between bat and ball. As the ball got softer, look, Stokes only bowled about 4 overs today. Chris Woakes only bowled about 4 overs today. It was almost as if Stokes had kind of semi-given up on taking wickets. There was just waiting for India to get bored of being supremely dominant. And they never really did get bored of it, because even when the amazing surprise of Shubman Gill's dismissal came about, it was very, very, very surprising, because it was a very innocuous ball that he placed into the hands of Ollie Pope at short square leg. India came out still determined to chew up more time, more and more and more time. Now, whether that was a good idea or not, I'm not quite sure, because I think perhaps if they'd had another 7 or 8 overs, they could have nicked another couple of wickets. But instead, I think Duckett and Crawley had a little bit more time to get their heads round opening and batting. They didn't use that time awfully productively, but it also gave possibly Joe Root a little bit more time as well. Prasid Krishna defending seemed an unnecessary absurdity towards the back end, but India had set their stall out, and the stall was, if we score as many runs as we possibly can, then we can ensure ourselves against defeat. And
that is cricket. That is a thing.
It is a thing, and any normal human being would tell you that 587 on the board means that they're insured against defeat. But I am here as a Cassandra to provide fear and alarm in the fans of anybody who doesn't support England by reminding people that on a couple of occasions has the side responded to a 500 plus first innings score and won. And they have both been, I'm afraid, England's Bazball.
Brendan
They did it
McCullum's
against
England.
New Zealand at Trent Bridge in 2022, and of course they very famously did it at Multan very recently when Pakistan got over 500 and England responded with 800. The difference this time, though, is that those 3 quick wickets have fallen. However, the similarity is, and this is where omens are, well, obviously nonsense, but I like to put them out there. On that day, England's number 2 got a duck, and Ollie Pope got a duck.
It's the same player, isn't it?
It was the same player. Today, England's number 2 got a duck, and Ollie Pope got a duck. They were 2 different players on today's occasion. It was a compound omen. At Multan, Pope had to bat at number 2 because Duckett hurt his hand.
Yeah.
So he batted at 2 and got a duck.
Yeah.
Today, England's number 2, Duckett, got a duck, and Ollie Pope got a duck. So, for those of you who believe in this kind of nonsense, England are about to score 800, and Brooke and Root are going to put on 450 something to get England back in the game. The reality of it is that they're not going to. India have got a fantastic chance of putting England under enormous pressure. What they're then going to be asked to do is, will we enforce the follow-on? We're going to find out a lot about Shubman Gill's tactics, I fancy, sometime after tea tomorrow.
Searing insights, as ever.
Yeah.
Something I just want listeners to put a pin in, a
Maurice.
mental note before we move on to the England bowling innings, England batting innings even.
Yes.
Ben Stokes took the new ball today.
Yes.
An inexperienced bowling attack. It was put to him by our good friend Vidushan Hantharajah from Cricinfo after the Headingley test. Benny boy. Not many test caps in this bowling lineup. You're bowling well. Fancy it? And Ben Stokes basically laughed at him and went, don't be ridiculous. A week later, we saw it happen. He took 4 overs with the new ball this morning. Just make a note of it. Be aware of it.
Didn't bowl again though, did he?
Didn't bowl again. He had to
No.
go with the new ball. But this is what we're going to move on to. But I'm going to focus on the good bits of India's bowling first. Akash Deep. Wonderful story, Akash Deep.
Gorgeous.
He was lost to the game for 3 years after he had a double bereavement where he lost both his father and brother in a very short space of time. He's made it all the way back to the professional game and to India. I was out there in Ranchi last year when he made his debut against England. He bowled wonderfully well. It was a very emotional moment. He also bowled fantastically well away in Australia, but he didn't have the wickets to kind of show for it. And we know all the numbers, all the losers of this world, your Ben Joneses. Your Ben Joneses.
Yeah. And your Freddie Wilds and your Ben Joneses.
They love him. All the number heads love Akash Deep. They say there's something bubbling below the surface which makes them fall in love with
Well,
this
it bubbled
bowler.
above it today, didn't
And
it?
I always think this. Who wants to fall in love via ball tracking data? I like to fall in love with my eyes. And when I saw with my eyes today, it was a wonderful
you in love?
spell. I think it's fun. I just like it. I think he's an interesting bowler who has a fun story, and I want him to do well because of that. And today he nicks off Ben Duckett early. He then got Ollie Pope with the very next delivery, and we knew that whilst we have this kind of flatter, softer pitch, eventually the new ball has been dangerous. And England basically had a job of don't lose 3 early. And what did they do? They lost 3 early.
Yes, they did, and Akash Deep was instrumental in that. I think fatigue was also instrumental in it, and that's why I think India was superb today, and why I think Shubman Gill was superb, because too many sides get into the habit of trying to go toe-to-toe with England. I say, call their bluff. Keep batting, keep batting, keep batting. Now, to be able to do that, you've got to have enormous amounts of concentration, and you've got to be utterly committed to the cause of doing it. India started doing it yesterday, and they continued doing it today, remorselessly, relentlessly. I have never seen a Ben Stokes England resort to basically Shoaib Bashir kind of bowling at one end, very unthreateningly.
He's got a Karen ball now.
Yeah, didn't do a great deal though, did it really?
Did for Mohammad Siraj though.
Yeah. Oh well, yes, good point, yes.
I can have that one.
As you say, Harry Brook and Joe Root, we'll come to him later. I think he might be Hall of Fame worthy. That's for a little bit later. But normally Ben Stokes will just keep on trying to get wickets, come what may. He will just try to keep doing that. But I think what India did and what Shubman Gill did today was take England into the pain zone.
Ooh.
And that is a zone that they're seldom in. Stokes is always looking to be inventive. He's always looking to be on the attacker. For the first time that I've seen, it felt like he slightly backed off, like he was slightly waiting for this ordeal of being out there finally to be over. And the crowd kind of responded to it as well, didn't they? There wasn't really a hubbub. It was more like the very, very, very gentle murmur of an occasionally bubbling soup of sulphur.
Wow.
In a
Sulphur?
giant
Why
cauldron.
does it have to smell?
Well, yeah, but it's because it's sort of more thick and glutinous, sort of
Okay,
thing.
fine.
Like in a sort of volcanic geyser.
Yeah,
where
very
it goes
familiar, yeah.
blub, blub. And that was the noise. It wasn't a full-on hubbub. It was just an occasion. Ooh. And that's all we ever
Getting
got
pissed,
to.
that's what it is.
Possibly a bit of
That's
that.
drunken men.
Yeah, but also they had nothing to cheer because this wasn't just 587. This was a 587 with absolutely no alarming moments for the Indian batters for nearly the entire time. We've got to give some props to Ravindra Jadeja because this guy, right? How there are games that have been taking place that India play while he's been a professional cricketer and he's not selected, I don't understand. He's a top 6 batter and he's a frontline bowler. He should have been picked for every single game he was available for from the moment he became available until he finally retires, whenever that may be. He showed his genius, his elder statesmanness in combination today. Then, the increasing of the batting order, the wisdom of doing that, the bringing in of Washington. What did he do? He stuck to his guns slowly, glacially, whilst at the other end, these just beautifully elegant, almost lascivious drives were being unfurled from the skipper's bat. He was knocking off records left, right and centre, and suddenly England looked like they had nowhere to go. And I have virtually never seen that. Now, of course, it can all turn around. This is a placid deck. It is horrible, actually. It's really not much fun. There's no jeopardy. The ball doesn't really fly around.
Because both teams, England 25 for 3, India very well could have been 21 for 3. There are going to be distinct periods where wicket-taking possibilities will arise. I don't think we want at the end of day 2 write this off and be like, it's over, it's done.
Oh, no.
On the flip side, I would say now...
Scoreboard pressure.
On the flip side, I'd now say if with Brook on 30, Joe Root on 18, if they can get through 5 overs tomorrow, they can cash in.
Yes, they can cash in, and then India's bowlers could be a little bit tired because they, like a lot of England's bowlers, haven't got a lot of miles in their legs. Akash Deep won't have played a lot of 5-day cricket. Prasid Krishna, we know, has played a lot of 5-day cricket. Mohammad Siraj has, but has he got a lot of miles in his legs at the moment? And it's due to be another lovely day tomorrow. But do you know what can really give you the fillip to keep going?
What?
Having 587 on the board. I think, given that England cannot get ahead of India until even allowing for the silliness of their scoring rate at the absolute best lunchtime on day 4, that gives you
tomorrow, yeah.
that gives you the 60 odd overs that are left with this old ball, and then a session after tea tomorrow with a second new ball, and with Jadeja in the side and Washington in the side. That will give Shubman Gill plenty of opportunity to rest his seamers if it needs to go that way. If they haven't bowled England out, he will be able to get those bowlers to bowl for about 20 odd overs before the second new ball becomes available, and then boom, they can come back and do the bang, bang, bang that we saw them do in the last session today. That's going to be their game plan. They're in with a really good chance of pulling it off. But as you say, also for the England fans, there's a slightly lip-smacking prospect of a flat deck, a beautiful day, and England's, unarguably 2 best batters at the crease.
Do you know what they say about when you've got 600 runs on the board?
No.
Things can only happen for you. Things can only happen quickly for you.
Oh.
Your situation in the game can improve dramatically in the space of 20 minutes.
That's true.
It can't for England. Anyway,
No, it's going to take 4 sessions for that to happen.
we're going to go to the Hall of Fame. We'll be right back after this break.
Huzzah!
The Final Word Daily is brought to you by New Brew. What is New Brew, I hear you ask? Well, New Brew is a supplement to support brain health and performance. It creates a range of ingredients. It contains a range of ingredients called nootropics. Its primary purpose is to increase sharpness, and it's been made with scientists and nutritionists. We actually met founder Martin and his dad today. We showed him around the media centre, and we got stocks up.
I've got one here. I love this one.
Look at these ones. We've got a bit of sprint, and we've got a bit of shield. But
I want the shield. The shield is a very important one.
So we've got the blues and the red ones, but if you want the black one, it's called Pro, and it's great if you're active and always on the go. It gives you a boost without the crash. So if you're interested, go to newbrew.com/final word. That's NOOBRU to get 15% off, and the discount will be applied at checkout. Right, Final Word Hall of Fame.
Yep, easy for me.
You go first.
Joe Root.
Yep.
Yes.
I've got loads.
Oh, yes. So Joe Root comes into bowl, only about his 3rd over, wasn't it, to Washington. And Washington had looked completely untroubled at all in a lengthy partnership when the game had from an England point of view, gone completely to sleep. From an Indian point of view, it was just lovely. They're just continuing to burgle their runs without any interruptions at all. And then suddenly, Root got one to turn. I mean, it did actually turn. When we saw the ball tracking from round the wicket to the left-hander, didn't go straight on with the arm, went past the outside edge, went into middle stump. He was furious. He punched it. I've never seen a furious Root. He was punching, he was screaming, he was rah, 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 trying to get everybody together. And I thought, OK, look, you got the wicket, your 72nd wicket, incidentally, in Test cricket. He'll calm down when the next batter comes in. Not a bit of it. Do you know what? Sight of fresh meat. He hurled a bouncer down.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Ping! Jamie Smith, either he'd been given the nod or he's just a very good keeper after all.
Good wicket-keeper.
Took it as easy as you like. But it was a little passage of play where I saw that England were actually annoyed by the fact that they'd been able to not really lay a glove. They'd not lain a glove on India for about 3 hours. And when they finally got the wicket, that pent-up frustration came out in a very human way.
I've got a quick three for you. It's been a very Hall of Famey day for me.
Okay.
One, Ollie Pope. I've quite enjoyed the fact that even though a week ago he scored a century to quell any discussion about him, whether he's the right player for number 3, has a week later returned to averaging 38 for the series.
Yes.
It's like, Ollie, please stop. Let us talk about something else, please.
Yes.
Number 2.
Oh, Jacob Bethel, where are you? Yes.
Mohammed Siraj.
Yes.
He called for a new bat. He was
Lovely.
like, this one's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
I need a different one, lads.
It's amazing he's got more than one,
He gets
really.
Shoaib Bashir's newly found carom ball and just runs past it and is stumped. Enjoyed that.
Yep.
New bat didn't work.
No.
Mo Siraj. Didn't work. And finally, Harry Brook, penultimate ball of the day.
Oh, goodness.
Defends the ball into the ground. It's looping up. It's potentially dropping down onto the stumps. And he goes for the shoulder charge. And he realises he almost goes to fend it away with his hand. He goes, no, that'll be out of obstruction the field. And instead he kind of jumps, leans the shoulder into it. Quick thinking, good thinking. Right. That's been the final word daily.
Question for you, though.
Oh, yeah?
Sorry, big question for you.
Yeah.
Would that have been handball in football? Because it was sort of
the sleeve rule, isn't it?
There was a sleeve rule, yeah, exactly. And just a very quick one on that. I think he was out in very similar fashion against Australia at 2023 on this very ground.
He was indeed.
When the ball came up off his bat, went over his head and just landed on the stumps. So it was weirdly spooky. There were echoes of the past.
I remember actually listening to that match on TMS. And I remember being very confused by the commentary because it was, and Brook defends into the ground. Bold!
That might have been me.
Right, that's been the final word daily. Day 2 here at Edgbaston, India in the box seat. This show was brought to you by New Brew. Reminder, if you want to get 15%, head to newbrew.com/final word and the discount will be applied at checkout. I've been Cameron. Daniel's been Daniel. We'll see you and speak to you again tomorrow.
Au revoir.